Today, we're diving into a legal showdown between two absolute giants of Indian public life. And trust me, this isn't just some dry courtroom case. Nope, this is a high-stakes drama that really tests the limits of free speech.
So let me ask you this. Can you, in an official setting, accuse a very well-respected lawyer of taking money from terrorists, basically treason, and then just walk away? That is the explosive question right at the heart of this whole story. All right, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off in a really tense environment, the Jain Commission. This was a major official inquiry looking into the assassination of former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. So you can imagine, the stakes were sky high. And right in the middle of it all, we have our two main players. On one side, you've got Ram Jethmalani, an absolutely brilliant and famous senior advocate. And on the other, Dr. Subramanian Swamy, a very sharp and powerful politician. These two titans were headed for a major clash. So during these proceedings, Dr. Swamy just drops a bombshell. He alleges, in writing, that Jethmalani had taken money from the LTTE, a banned terrorist group. Now, this wasn't just some political mudslinging. This was a direct shot at Jethmalani's character, his ethics, and even his loyalty to the country.
So the accusation is out there. The damage is done. But you know, this was far from over. The battle now shifts from the Commission of Inquiry to the much more formal and, unforgiving setting of the High Court.
Jethmalani, of course, hits back with a defamation lawsuit. And Dr. Swamy's entire defense? It all hinged on this one legal idea, qualified privilege. He basically argued that because he said what he said during a formal inquiry, the law protected his words from a defamation claim.
So what in the world is qualified privilege? Well, you can think of it as a kind of legal protection. It lets people in certain situations, like witnesses in court, speak freely without getting sued for every little thing they say, as long as they're not doing it out of pure malice.
Yeah, a really good way to think about it is like a temporary shield for your words. But a shield can be broken, right? And this case really gets to the heart of the matter. What are the limits? Can you just hide behind this legal shield and say whatever you want, no matter how hurtful or how irrelevant it is?
And here is where the story takes a crazy turn. The commission itself decided the remarks were so out of line that they officially struck them from the record. Poof, gone. But then, and this is just a stunning move, Dr. Swamy reads those exact same words out loud in open court, knowing the press would pick it up. That single act, well, that became the game changer for the whole case. Okay, so reputations are on the line. This legal shield is being put to the ultimate test. The stage is set for the big finale. Let's see what the court had to say.
The court was just crystal clear in its thinking. Step 1, they said, yep, the statement was obviously defamatory. Step 2, and this is so important, it had nothing to do with what the Jain Commission was actually investigating. Step 3, by going so far off topic, Swamy went way beyond the protection of his privilege. And finally, that act of reading the remarks after they were deleted, the court saw that as clear proof of malice.
So the final verdict was simple and powerful. That shield of privilege, it's not absolute. It's not a free pass to defame someone. It's there to protect relevant, good faith speech, not vicious, irrelevant attacks designed to ruin a person's name.
In the final judgment, the Delhi High Court found Dr. Swamy liable for defamation. He was ordered to pay Ram Jethmalani damages to the tune of 5 lakh rupees. A clear, decisive win. But you know, this was about so much more than just two individuals or the money. This verdict set a huge legal precedent that still matters today. It helped define the responsibilities that come with free speech, especially for people in powerful positions.
So what are the big takeaways for us? First, and say it with me, privilege is not an absolute shield. Second, whatever you say in an official proceeding better be relevant. Third, throwing out irrelevant, damaging accusations can be seen as proof you're acting with malice. And finally, public figures can't just use a formal setting as a weapon to recklessly attack someone's reputation. And you know, this whole case leaves us with a massive question, one that's maybe more important now than ever before. In our world of nonstop public debate and social media, where do we draw that line? How do we balance our precious right to free speech with our duty to speak the truth and not destroy people in the process? It's definitely something to think about.